Hi, Namaste. My name is Henry Chadicar. I'm a French-Canadian hypnotherapist that has worked with thousands of clients, and my special field of interest and study is brainwashing and mind control by cults. Today I would like to give my final review on the book Gold, Guns, and God, Volume 4, by my friend Henry Dogdowski. And I would like to focus especially on the crimes, the rape, the beating of women black and blue by this guy, Dennis Frederick GORRICK, whose so-called spiritual name is Dharmatma. During the 1970s and 1980s, Kirtan Ananda Keith M had Megalomaniac project, like building a golden temple that you see here. A project that would cost millions of dollars, and project that were approved by his own guru, Swami Bhaktivedanta. He approved those projects, but he had no idea how the community of New Vrindavan would find the millions of dollars that were needed to build such project. So Kirtan Ananda sent dozens of women in vans all around America, collecting money under false pretense. Sometimes 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, to raise the tremendous amount of money needed to build his megalomaniac project. And one of the person that was entrusted to take care of those women traveling America was Dennis Frederick GORRICK, Dharmatma. And as you will see in this video, he did raise millions of dollars, but he also raped the woman that he was traveling with, beat them black and blue, and raped girls as young as 13-year-old. This guy is still alive, and he lives near the community of the HARE KRISHNA movement in Florida called Alachua. And I hope that making this video will make the whole HARE KRISHNA movement aware of the crime of this guy. And if there is a possibility that the American laws will catch up with this criminal who still considers himself a very good devotee of Lord Krishna, and now that he's approaching the door of death, he is hoping that his soul will be transferred to the planet where Krishna lives. This is one sick psychopath. But before going into testimonial of women that have witnessed the crime of Dharmatma, I would like to explain where did this philosophy of abusing women came from in the HARE KRISHNA movement. And there's no higher authority in the HARE KRISHNA movement than Swami Bhaktivedanta, the founder, the leader of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And what he said, and what he wrote in his book, and what he said in private conversation is, in my view, and in the view of Henry Dogdowski, part of the results of the terrible abuse, beating, and rape that woman in Vrindavan experienced in the 1970s, 80s, and even the 1990s. Scholars that have studied all the books of Swami Bhaktivedanta have said that 80% of what Swami Bhaktivedanta said about women in his book is completely negative. Here's some of the quotes of Bhaktivedanta about woman. The woman is beautiful when she remains a slave to her husband. Her beauty is how she remains obedient to her husband. Where is this idea of beating women a good idea? Swami Bhaktivedanta wrote, a drum, an idiot, a Sudra, a man from a lower class, a dog, and a woman, they're all eligible for a good beating. He said, in India still, in villages, when there is a quarrel between husband and wife, the husband gives a good beating to his wife, and then she is tame. Bhaktivedanta said in many places that woman's intelligence is much lower than a man. He said the brain of a woman is only 34 ounces, and the brain of a man is 64 ounces. Therefore, a woman is less intelligent. And Henry Doktovsky explained in his book that this is completely false. Scientific measurement of the brain of men and women is only about 10% difference, no more. And it's not how big the brain is, it's the content of that brain that is important. And then he talks about women's sexuality. Swami Bhaktivedanta says women in general are very much sexually inclined. Indeed, it is said that a woman's sex desire is 9 times stronger than a man. It is therefore a man's duty to keep woman under control. How did he know that a woman is 9 times more sexual than a man? Did he have that experience? And probably the most despicable quote of Swami Bhaktivedanta is this one. A man is always famous for his aggression toward a beautiful woman. And such aggression is sometimes considered a rape. Although it is not legally allowed, it is a fact that women like a man who is very expert at rape. Where did he get that? Has he interviewed women all over the world that have been raped? And such quotes would be used in the Hare Krishna movement to rape women, as you will see later on in this video. Then Swami Bhaktivedanta said, when a woman is attacked by an aggressive man, she takes his action to be mercy. Generally, when a woman is attacked by a man, she enjoys this attack because she is very lusty. And as you will see in the book of Henry Doktovsky, Dharmatma was married to at least 3 women, and he raped possibly dozens of others. Where was this idea that the Hare Krishna could marry more than one wife? Well, Swami Bhaktivedanta said in 1975, all the girls in the Hare Krishna movement must be married. They must have one husband, even if the husband has got 50 wives. One of the disciples of Swami Bhaktivedanta, whose name was Nityananda, said, "Are you saying, Swami Bhaktivedanta, that our man should have more than one wife?" And Swami Bhaktivedanta says, "I have no objection." Another devotee said, "Well, that's a very difficult proposition because it's illegal in the United States. It is not allowed. It's against the law." And everything we do in the Hare Krishna movement, we have to show to the world what we're doing. We cannot hide that men in the Hare Krishna movement have many wives. And Swami Bhaktivedanta said, well, if you do not call them wife, you can have many wives. The laws allow men and women to have boyfriend, girlfriend. Just call them girlfriend, boyfriend, that's all. And some say, well, maybe we could do this in California, but I don't know about anywhere else. The public would not agree that Hare Krishna men have many wives. And Swami Bhaktivedanta said, what is the public? We do not care about the public. They're all rascals. They're killing cows. They're drinking alcohol. They have topless and bottomless dances in nightclub. What is the value of the public? I do not give any importance to what you call the public. So here's an old man that come to America. He arrived in America with a few dollars, and 10 years later, he is a multimillionaire riding in Rolls Royces in Los Angeles, and he is telling that the laws in the United States is all by rascal fools. They should not be obeyed. If the Hare Krishna man wants to have many wives, well, let's disobey the law. Let's call all the judge laws of the United States of America useless. Because in America, people eat meat, drink alcohol, and go to nightclubs. What stupid speculation. But the words of Swami Bhaktivedanta in his book and in his private conversation, when they are manipulated by a psychopath, a pedophile, a megalomaniac like Kirtan Ananda, well, they become extremely dangerous. Kirtan Ananda raised more than $20 million with sending people all over America collecting money under false pretense. And now he had the authorization of Swami Bhaktivedanta. Hey, my guru believed in multiple marriages. So I will take a man like Dharmatma and I will marry him to 3, 4, 5 women and send him all over America. He will have total control over them, and they will bring to me thousands of dollars every week. Actually, each woman made about $3,000 a week. If you had 10 women that you were married to or under your control, that's $30,000 a week. That's $120,000 a month. And over several years, this is millions of dollars. And these women under the psychopath Dharmatma work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. in airports, in malls, in street corners. They had to collect so much money every day. And if they did not collect that amount, they were dropped in bars and nightclubs at night to make more money. And they were even encouraged to use their sex appeal to get donation from men who were mostly drunk. So now I would like to read some of the testimonials of people that were traveling with this psychopath Dharmatma. Here's some testimonial of women that were there collecting money with this psychopath Dharmatma. This girl, Shyama, was sent to New Vrindavan to attend the New Vrindavan school in 1976. She was 13-years-old. She was placed in one of the school ashram, and Dharmatma had his eye on her. And he sent one of his trusted women to befriend that young girl and tell her how wonderful it would be for her to come and Sankirtan, collecting money with him all over America. He then went to Kirtan Ananda and asked permission to take that young girl, and he did that without contacting the mother of that young girl. They told him that it was difficult because she had to go to school. He said, "Don't worry, I'll teach her." And he brought that young girl to Pittsburgh. After a month or so of reading with her in her room alone at night, he started kissing her. But from kissing her, it got worse, moving on to her performing oral sex on him regularly for almost a year. And whenever that young girl called her mother, Dharmatma stood over to hear what she had to say. He constantly threatened her to break both of her legs and kill her if she ever told anybody about the sexual affair he had with her. Each time after performing oral sex on him, he would send her away and say, "Please chant Hare Krishna mantra." Then it got worse. Dharmatma beat that poor girl with a rubber hose from the washing machine in the basement on numerous occasions, on the whole body, in between her legs. She said she felt like an animal in a cage. And at the same time, Dharmatma was having other sexual relations, especially with a woman called Vijayapriya, and also his own wife, Lakima. After a year of such abuse, that young girl became convinced that Dharmatma was going to kill her, so she escaped. She went to her mother, and her mother went to the leader of New Vrindavan, Kirtan Ananda, to inform the leader of such abuse. But nothing happened. There was no punishment for Dharmatma. And to this day, Shyama suffered from phobia, panic attack, emotional and mental problem. She lives like a recluse, and she lived in great fear of Dharmatma. Often Dharmatma would boast that after dropping his woman at the Pittsburgh airport to collect money, he would have another girl called Brajamandala perform oral sex on him. as he was driving to the airport. And Brajamandala at that time was 12 years old. And in that testimonial, that woman affirmed that at time Dharmatma would take a 3-year-old little girl, put her on his lap, and force his penis on the child. And he would say, "We have to train them young." Another young black girl became pregnant from Dharmatma, and he made her have an abortion. Women traveling with him would say, "We were always pushed to the max. We were sleep deprived, only sleeping 6 hours and working 12 hours. At one point, Kirtan Ananda moved Dharmatma to a house in New Vrindavan, and the remedy to the sexual abuse he was hearing about Dharmatma was to marry him to 3 women, and he also beat some of those 3 so-called wives. One of the witnesses said, "I witnessed this beating with my own eyes. It took place in the basement of his house. I witnessed these beating with my own eyes," said a witness. "I saw this girl, Pradhana Gopika, on the floor in her underwear, while Dharmatma severely beat her with a rubber hose. When he saw me, he screamed to mind my own business." That poor girl was black and blue, covered in wealth. She was so afraid she was passing urine on the floor. That same girl was beaten over and over again with a rubber hose, with a cane, a wood file, a wooden hanger, but mainly Dharmatma used a piece of black rubber hose. He made that girl pregnant, and he continued to beat her even when she was pregnant. Later on, he beat her in front of her own small children. After years of such beating, finally, that girl, Pradhana, escaped and was forced to leave her 3 children behind, children fathered by Dharmatma. Whenever he spoke to her on the phone, he would say that one day he would find her, and he knew how to commit the perfect murder. We would collect money for 12 hours a day, but still, he would yell at us. He would call us prostitute, douchebag, whores, cunt, slut, witches, bitches, snake. And this was a guy that always kept a briefcase full of Playboy magazine. Another testimonial, although each of the girls were making about $3,000 a week in collection for Dharmatma, he would force us to go steal food in the supermarket and steal clothes in clothing store so that he would not misuse the money that belonged to Krishna. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to remember that face and that name, Dennis GORRICK. He is still active. He has a few thousand so-called friends on Facebook. He is still thinking that he's a great devotee of Krishna. If there's a way to bring this guy to justice and having him punished, go to jail, I invite you to take action to get this sadistic psychopath put away. Some people have told me, but this happened 30 years ago. Maybe he has changed. And I say, sadistic psychopath then, sadistic psychopath now. He might be old and laying low, but the Hare Krishna movement knows about this crime. They do not let him come to the Hare Krishna temple in Florida. But that's not enough for me. He has caused such pain that to this day, the women that he has abused are suffering because their subconscious mind is full of the pain and abuse they have received from that psychopath. Thank you very much. Namaste.